the third one, which is also related to the first two, is around modern technology and tools and systems. The workforce today is fundamentally different. We're all working in either remote or hybrid world today. Data out there today, which powers companies. And so with that means different skills, different processes, and therefore better technology solutions, which help us capture all of that. So as an example, FP&A as a category has received a lot of attention and funding over the last handful of years, for instance, Abercom. And I think ultimately the reason for that is because, as a function, FP&A has become a lot more collaborative in nature. It needs to be collaborative because businesses are moving at such fast pace, and people just, they're constrained by the number of hours in a day, and so you need to have modern solutions to kind of address that pace of execution, but also the need to make decisions faster in a more agile manner with many stakeholders, not only inside your company, but also externally as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I love that you speak to, like business agility and financial agility. You actually coined the term, financial sprints as a framework to drive like financial and operational excellence. What do you mean by that? And what would that look like?
So financial sprints is a concept that we started utilizing at PegaFund 2 years ago. It was really inspired by some of the product sprints that I learned through just some peers and friends of mine who worked at Adyen, who used sprints quite extensively in their product organization around how do you ultimately create alignment and plan for a business. So how it works is it's a 5-day exercise where you come together as a business and leadership team, typically in the last quarter of the year, where essentially you put together a budget, a headcount plan, and make sure that's aligned with everything strategically related. However, because oftentimes, growth stage businesses just have so much, call it chaos at the operational level, I think is the best way to describe it. Yeah. Or lots of experiments is maybe another way to phrase it. It's an exercise that allows different people with different perspectives around the table to come together to lift up all the operational activities up to a level of strategy and planning, and to be able to challenge each other on those activities and rationalize around, if your fixed pie is only so big, and by pie I mean your funding resources and capital to deploy across the business, how can you most effectively come up with a budget and a hiring plan at the end of the day that's going to deliver the most impact for the business for the next year? So we go through all the same exercises that you would do in a product sprint. Day one is really around identifying accelerators and decelerators for growth. Day two is really around brainstorming solutions around some of those accelerators and how to further extend those so that you can kind of double or triple down on things that are working well. Day three is really creating a growth roadmap in terms of what are the core activities that a business wants to do, or like projects or tasks that a business wants to do to take those potential solutions further. Day four is really around identifying the skills, which ultimately then transition into a hiring plan. And day five is around starting to socialize that amongst your individual teams to ultimately create the hiring plan and the budget for the year. Okay. So yeah, it seems to have worked quite well, particularly for companies who haven't, let's say, had a team that have gone through the traditional like annual budgeting, quarterly planning, forecasting cycle, because it allows people to do things that perhaps are a bit more in line with things that they do every day. So exercises like the Crazy Eights, which really challenge like what's the biggest, boldest experiment that you can do. Take people out of their traditional comfort zone and mode of operating day to day, and help each other really think collaboratively on a much more strategic, higher level of figure out what could work, what couldn't work, or even think outside of the box of what they have been doing historically.